once you understand people in the workplace or in community, in faith houses, and you respect who they are for what they are, then you don't really have to be that bull in a china shop. Calmness. When you speak or change your tone, then people listen that, oh, there must be something. Recognition will come. And what comes after that? The reward. It is relevant. They recognize your worth. And because of your worth, society decides what they want to do in terms of rewarding you through those accolades.
Hello and welcome to the O5BM Community Impactors Podcast, the platform where Black excellence takes center stage. Join us for inspiring conversations with extraordinary Black leaders, innovators, and changemakers who are driving progress and giving back to our community. Together, let's explore stories that uplift, empower, and spark action.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, O5BM. Good afternoon, everybody else. And most importantly, good afternoon, Professor Jaiyesimi.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to the O5BM Podcast. I also use this opportunity to welcome our Community Impactors broadcast series to you. You are number 2. You're the first gentleman, the first elder, and a super guest, as far as I'm concerned, to the platform today. Brought to you, to all the viewers out there, by the O50s Black Men Forum, aka O5BM. We were founded in 2018. O5BM is a not-for-profit community organization dedicated to supporting Black men aged 50 and over across the UK. It addresses the challenges such as isolation, loneliness, health concerns, job security, and anxieties of aging, which applies to everybody, especially over our age demographic. The forum provides a platform for members to connect, share experiences, share lived-in experiences, support one another through activities that include health education, physical activities, and peer-to-peer mentoring. Our podcast series is a platform where we celebrate high Black achievers making meaningful contributions in their professional fields and at large our communities. Our mission is to share the powerful narratives of resilience, innovation, and leadership of our guests and unsung heroes, as I like to call them, who are shaping a brighter future for us, all of us. Each episode, we shall bring you an in-depth interview with trailblazers, visionaries, and change makers breaking barriers and paving the way for a more inclusive and equitable world. I'm your host today, Steve. Most people know me as Steve-O, and I'm thrilled to embark on this journey with you, Prof, as we shine a spotlight on the inspiring stories and remarkable achievements of you as one of our guests in particular. Today, I have the honor of sharing some precious time with you. And as I said earlier, a very, in my opinion, special guest. And it will become apparent why I call you a very special guest in a few minutes. So therefore, without further ado, please, everybody watching this today or whenever you get to watch this, and you in particular, Prof, welcome Professor A.K. Jaiyesimi. Professor Rotimi, A.K. Jaiyesimi. And I'm going to try and read out a few of your acronyms, as in achievements and accolades. Hopefully, I'll get most of them right. And if the ones I don't, I'll just say what the acronyms are. So I'll start with MBBS. I know for a fact that that's a medical certification. I don't know what it actually stands for. My older brother's a medical doctor, but I know what that stands for. FRCOG, FWACS, FRSPH, MFCI, FIIM, MBA, I know that one, SMFMLM, and LLM. I know that one too. LLM is medical law. And I'll come back to those in a minute. Currently, Professor Rotimi Jaiyesimi is the Group Associate Medical Director for Patient Safety and a Consultant Obstetrician and Gynaecologist at the Mid and South Essex University Hospital NHS Foundation Trust. And I'll go back to the LLM bit. So Prof is, and I'm gonna crave for Prof's indulgence because it's not just a Prof. Our guest today is a double Prof. And I come from a family of what I would call career academics. And it stopped at me. I just thought, no, this is not for me. Put my head in books for the rest of my life, for most of my life, wasn't my personal doctorate at all. But I'm looking at Prof here, it's not content to just being one professor, but a double professor. And for that, I bow, sir. I recognize the hard work it's taken to get those accolades and those achievements. No mean achievements. Very well done, and thank you. But
Thank you.
the specialty for me is you're not only a professor in your medical background, but also in law. And that for me, I've never encountered that before. It might exist anywhere else or in some places else. I've never encountered it. And for me, that's very special. So again, thank you, sir. I'm going to spend a few more minutes just talking about a little bit of the research I've done about who Prof is. No, let me not call you Prof. I'm going to call you Double Prof until you tell me otherwise. A little bit of research about who Double Prof is. And then I'll ask Prof to share himself with us, especially the areas I haven't mentioned, and elaborate a bit more on anything I might have mentioned in the past. So here we go. Professor Jaiyesimi, Double Prof as I call him, is an internationally recognized and acclaimed award-winning and revered consultant, obstetrician, and gynecologist in particular. His areas of expertise and specialties include, but not limited to, menorrhagia, pelvic issues, endometriosis, menopause, sepsis, and patient care. There's a lot more. I've only picked out the ones that I thought I could pronounce, and I think I have a little bit of understanding what they are. There's a whole lot more. There's a plethora of other accolades. Professor is also, I believe, and if I'm wrong, please I stand corrected, the first Nigerian to be appointed as a consultant in Obs and Gynae in the UK. Is that correct?
That's
Again,
correct.
well done, Prof.
Thank you.
Prof later became a fellow of the Royal Society of Public Health, the West African College of Surgeons, and the Royal College of Obs and Gynaes in the UK. Prof is also an adjunct professor at the Faculty of Law at the University of Ibadan in Nigeria, where he lectures postgraduates on medical jurisprudence, whilst being the first medical doctor to lecture at the Nigerian Law School in Abuja, Nigeria. Many, many firsts. Professor Jaiyesimi, his passion, drive for excellence, and equity has brought about many awards for innovation, dedication to medicine, healthcare, and people development in general, which include the National Award for Innovative Development by the Health Service Journal for the Electronic Mortality Review Tool, aka MARS, and a life achievement by his alumni, University of Ibadan, again in Nigeria. Prof has been married for over 40 years with 2 surviving children and a very lovely young grandson. Prof, all that is left for me to do now is to say I've done a whistle-stop tour of who you are, your credentials, your background, your areas of expertise, and more importantly, your achievements. Now I'm going to stop, because if you don't let me stop now, I'll carry on. I've got 4 pages just a list of who Prof is, and I just went and picked some bits and bobs out of them. Without further ado, welcome to our podcast again. Would you mind spending a few minutes and just say and tell us who you are? Who is Professor Rotimi, aka Jaiyesimi? Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you, Steve, and thank you, O5BM, for the kind invitation. I am a member of O5BM, and I found it very useful, and I will recommend it to anybody to join for the camaraderie that we have together, and for the health and emotional and mental well-being that we do derive from it. Who is Rotimi Jaiyesimi? I'm not different from any one of you. We are all humans. We've just decided to go into different aspects of life in terms of profession and other aspects of life. So I was born in Benin City in 1954. Probably spent 2 years in Benin. My father and mother shaped who Rotimi Jaiyesimi is. Yeah, because without that solid foundation, I wouldn't be who I am today. Then primary school over, went to Government College Ibadan from 1966 to 1972. And I must say that had a great impact on who I am and how I behave. Because in boarding school, it was a boys' boarding school, we're guided by laws. So that has shaped me. I was small in stature, and I was surprised to be appointed as the head of one of the houses, one of the four houses. So I was the school prefect and head of house. And I wasn't sportish, probably not the best academic, not a big man. And I thought, what have they found in me? Up till today, I still ask my junior colleagues, well, what do you, or even what did they find in me? But I found it that it shaped me in terms of speaking, addressing the public, acting as a leader who people look up to. That is, if you emulate, if you have good virtues and values and you act it, then people see you and want to be like you. So after government college, then University of Ibadan, I had three choices. I could have been a doctor, I could have been a vet doctor, or my third choice was pharmacy. Um, I could have gone into vet medicine because I got admitted when I was in lower six, but my father said, no, you must do your A levels, which I did and was successful at and got into medical school. 5 years in medical school, graduated in 1978, yes, 78. Did my youth corps in Bendel State, and that was intentional because I was born in Benin, but I knew nothing about what it was called then, the Midwest or Bendel State. And again, that was very good, going away from home to another place, meeting with people from different religions, different ethnicity. So that was another good one. Then I came back to Ibadan, where I started my postgraduate training in obstetrics and gynecology, which from 1980 to 1985. And in 1985, I went to Dublin just to advance my career. And I spent 3.5 years in Dublin as training as an obstetrician and gynecologist. After which I moved to London in 1989 January, and from there, 2 years, 2.5 years in Dublin, sorry, in London, then to Plymouth, where I did my higher specialist training. That training, when you go through it, is the one that you become accredited, and then you are appointed or appointable as a consultant. And I became a consultant. I was appointed in 1993, but started working April because you have to go through the immigration policy. And I was in Newcastle for about 18 years as a consultant in obstetrics and gynecology. And then for, again, humanities purpose, and as God will have it, came down to Essex in 2012 as the Group Associate Medical Director for Patient Safety, as well as a practicing obstetrician and gynecologist, which I enjoy doing and still do. So that's my professional life. Family-wise, like I said, I've made reference to my father, um, late Alfred Jaiyesimi, Chief Conservator of Forestry, who, I mean, set the standards of what we should be as human beings. Then my mother was Deputy Matron in UCH, University College Hospital, Ibadan, and later was Chief Nursing Officer. I think it was called the Western State then, or perhaps, yeah, it was the Western State. So you can see the background, mom being a nurse, probably maybe it had an influence in I becoming a doctor.
Yeah.
I am one of five siblings, the second one. And yeah, and I got married in 1982, June. I'm blessed with three children, but unfortunately, we lost my daughter, as God will have it. And I have a grandson, as you alluded to. So that's me socially. Yeah, I used to think I was an introvert, but the psychometric test says I'm an extrovert. So I don't know, but I am a person who has a gentle temperament, but a deep inner still when it comes to life issues. So I
Okay.
think I'll stop there for now.
Up there. Okay, I'm going to pick up on the last point, Prof, if you don't mind. So, you would describe yourself as an introvert. The psychometric test, as we call them these days, describes you otherwise.
That's correct.
So, in recent terms, I've become used to, or sometimes rather, I've become used to the term ambivert,
Right.
which means you can fluctuate between either an extrovert or an introvert, based on, I guess, how you feel that particular how you feel in that particular environment. And it's not a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. I've known you for a short while. I would never consider you as an extrovert. Never. Never.
Mm.
So that surprises me. Never.
Yeah.
I've never thought you as extroverts. But I'm glad. So I've got a number of questions in my head. And to ask you to come on, try and expand on some of the stuff you said about yourself. Let's do the family first. So, very strong upbringing, very clear from mom and dad. And the fact that you have 5 other siblings. You said maybe, and I use the word carefully, maybe mom being a matron and mom being a matron had an influence of you going down the medical environment or medical field. Can you put that into context?
Yes. It's a mixed bag. Government college was predominantly a science school. You had to do physics, chemistry, and biology, and that was in the 50s and 60s. Interestingly, my father went to government college in the 30s. All my siblings, male, went to government college Ibadan. So it's one of the best schools in Nigeria. But it was pro-science, so that probably shaped going into something scientific. And mom being a nurse, we visited the hospital from time to time, read her nursing books, textbooks, and medicine is a career of caring. And we had a lot of pets at home, cats, dogs, and you saw them getting pregnant, having babies, kittens, and puppies, and you had to care for them as well. So perhaps all of that put together, and again, watching my parents cared for people. They loved people and they cared for people. And they brought in family members to live with us, to look after us, and probably, I'm sure all that put together, knit together, probably shaped going into medicine. Could have been any other thing. Wasn't very strong in mathematics. I could have gone into being an architect because I was good at woodwork and technical drawing, but I didn't like mathematics, so I opted for medicine. Yeah.
Some would say you opted for the harder discipline rather than the softer one.
Well, I didn't look at the hardness. It was just, well, I want to care for people. Let's
Sure.
do it. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it is hard. Medicine is hard. 5 years of studying is no joke at all. Well, most of the courses are 3-year degree courses.
Sure,
Yeah.
exactly. Thank you for that, Dr. Prof. So I listened very carefully with intent when you described your journey. You came to the UK. Was that something that you had always dreamt of? Because back in those days, and I'm much, much younger than you are, but for us who are born in Nigeria, or born in England, or born in Nigeria, the dream was always there to go abroad, as we called it in those days, and do something different, or apply our trades somewhere else so it could be more successful. Was the illusion. I use the word very carefully, the illusion back in those days. Was yours always a dream to come to England on a short-term basis and ended up being, I don't know, if my calculation is right, over 40 years, or almost 40 years, or it happened accidentally? Because you haven't said anything about that.
Yeah, it wasn't a dream. And I would say if God speaks to me and said, Rotimi, what would have been your dream. My dream would have been to be in Nigeria as we speak, with my own hospital built and run to the highest quality, looking after patients. But I was in postgraduate training in Nigeria in the 80s, like I said. And as part of that, you are expected to go out of the country to another hospital and have a flavor of how practice is in other climes. And I went to Dublin in 1985 with the intention of coming back in 1986. I wasn't funded, so I had limited funding, and I had a baby and a wife. But in Dublin, I got a job that was paid for 3 years, and a 1 year stint of going abroad became 3.5 years. And I had done the exams, passed the exams. And it was at that time the late Obafemi Awolowo said, "Oh, the economy of Nigeria is not going in the right direction." And my father, and most parents in those days will say, "Come home." But my father said, "Look, the things are not very strong in Nigeria. If you've got a job in the UK, stay for now. Not stay permanently,
Sure.
but stay until things are clearer." And so I moved to London in 1989, January. And even up till I got my consultant job in 93, 94, my heart was still at home. Because I had bought equipment in Dublin that I was going to use for my hospital, between the London job and the Plymouth job, there was a 3-month gap, which I went as a consultant to Saudi to make some money to be able to buy more equipment. But like I said, as faith will have it, and I believe in faith, God takes you to where He wants you to be. And having said that, yes, I've been away from Nigeria for 40 years. It will be 40 years in June of this year. But I still go home quite often to deliver services, to see family, because I am proudly Nigerian to the core.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So 1 year turned into 40 years and counting. Okay. I'll make a note of that.
That's true.
Somebody's got to think someone's getting a return of investment. Somebody's, or some countries.
Yeah, I know. Humanity.
So I was born in England, few years ago. And in my head, I'm trying to imagine what it would be like for a Black man who came from Nigeria, with a medical background, being in Newcastle, as I would call it, Geordie Town, or Geordie Land. So, and you were there for 18 years, I think I heard you say 18 years. So in my opinion, the Geordies might disagree, but in my opinion, you're Honorable Geordie.
Yes.
What was
definitely.
that experience like? What was that experience like, Dr. Bro?
Well, I mean, it was interesting. Number one, yeah, it was a small community of Black people. There were not many Black people, but the Geordies are pleasant people who are welcoming. They have a sense of humor. They believe in enjoying life. And going there, for as long as you are professional as a person, when we look at the professional aspect, if you're professional, you've got the knowledge, skills, and you deliver the good service, then you earn the respect of being a professional. But as a Black person in a white community, the question is, how will they accept you? But they look at you, they assess you, the way you carry yourself, if you want to use the aura around you. And like I said, respect begets respect. Whether you're in the lower cadre, you respect them, you gist with them, they're happy. And I was accepted into Geordie land. Yes, and I am a proud Geordie lad, even though I haven't got the accent, but I am a proud Geordie boy. Yeah. So that's good. I'll give you a story of my son. My children were the only blacks in this school,
Yeah.
and my son, the younger one, his colleagues would want to touch his hair because it was different from white people. They wanted to touch it, and my son would say, "Oh, you want to?" I think he charged 10p for people to touch his hair. Yeah. They wanted to feel the texture and quality of this curly black hair.
I never heard
So
that before.
that was interesting, yeah. So
Entrepreneur at that young age, yeah?
I know. So no, but it was nice, nice experience.
Good.
When we talk about a black person in a white community, there was no racism in your face in Dublin or Ireland at that time. Even when I was going to leave in 1988, they my colleagues didn't want me to go. My senior colleagues said, "Look, we'll get you a job somewhere." But my wife couldn't get a job as an accountant then, and it was difficult to live on one salary, and that's really, really why I had to move to London.
Okay.
So I have very fond memories of
Well, that's good
that.
to hear. That's good
But
to hear.
my message will be, as a black person, we shouldn't see color. We're all human beings. But if you it's the way you present yourself, people take you. And that will be my message
Sure.
to our
Sure.
community.
Okay. Thank you for that,
Thank you.
Doc. I like that. Because here's an interesting question, for me anyway. So, based on what we've shared so far and your accolades, and more importantly, your disposition, I like it. It's very calming, very charitable. But there's also a serious side to you based on your accolades and your experience and your background. I would assume, rightly or wrongly so, that your achievements to date have brought you and have brought you a lot of attention from younger colleagues who look up to you from either a personal point of view or from your field of expertise point of view. I like Prof. I want to be like Prof. How do you handle that?
Um, I I don't take it or put it on my head or shoulder because I'm just being who I'm supposed to be, who our faith expects us to be. Be gentle, be careful of your tongue, be good, be nice. It says in everything, faith, hope, and love,
Yeah.
the best is love. So love people. So with all those accolades, they are accolades, but they don't define who I am. I think the accolades are just to acknowledge what I have achieved
Sure.
and to make you continue to want to achieve more or to be who you are in terms of impacting society. Like I
Yeah.
said, I go home quite often and I'm the pioneer recipient of the Nigerian National Honor for Diaspora Healthcare Workers.
Well done, Prof. Well done.
That was 2 years ago. But again, I don't carry that on my head and shout about it. I don't shout about what I have, but with social media now, it's all over there
Out there.
when you go, it's out there when you Google the name.
Sure.
But I think I will put it this way. When you're working, do it as it's supposed to be done, as even if nobody is watching you, be professional. Then the recognition will come. And then, so you're relevant in society, recognition will come. And what comes after that? The third R is the reward. So the three R's. Make yourself relevant, make yourself, and being relevant, then they recognize your worth. And because of your worth, society decides what they want to do in terms of rewarding you through those accolades. So thank
Those
you.
3 hours. Thank you, sir. I'll make sure note of that. 3 hours. Okay. So over the last 40 minutes or so, and when I had a conversation prior to this, you come across to me, and I'm sure maybe our viewers at some point will agree with me at some point that even though you've got the very soft calm disposition. Underneath there somewhere, A, you've been on this planet a lot longer than I have. B, you've achieved a lot. And I'm sure you've had to go through some times in your life and periods of your professional background and go through some form of adversity, which I then interpret in my head to say, you must have, even if it's a tiny bit of steeliness to you. How does that manifest when it does, if I am right?
Yeah, I mean, what I say, I try to understand. We are all different human beings, and each person has got the good and the bad sides. And I tend try and see the good in people. Yes, I note the bad things in them, and I have my own bad aspects, and I have a long rope that I give people, accommodate people because we're coming from different angles, different backgrounds, and you've got to just understand who they are. Once you understand people in the workplace or in community, in faith houses, and you respect who they are for what they are, then you don't really have to be that bull in a china shop. But you have your values, you have your virtues, and you will not compromise with that. It's only when people now want to cross the red line, then that you have to stand up for yourself, for social justice, for equity, equality, and whatever else. So, like I said, you don't have to be that bull shouting and stamping on the table. No, it won't get you anywhere.
Yeah.
Uh, but
Yeah.
when with the like I said, the calmness, when you speak or change your tone, then people listen that, oh, there must be something that they've done or not done. So, but let's be kind to each other is what my
Okay.
mantra. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So you mentioned that, your ideal would have been, I've come to England, I've come to the British Isles, I've plowed my trade, I've got my experience, I've got my levels of expertise up there. And the dream would have been, okay, now I'm going home. And for the viewers, that home is in Nigeria. And I'm doing what I've learned and what I always wanted to do for my people, for my local community, as in Nigeria, not local community as in England. That hasn't been the case. And as you said, Prof, God decides what we do. And I don't believe there's any regrets that you haven't gone home. It would be a nice wish to have accomplished, but it's not a regret. So on that basis, and you said you go home very often, or quite often. What are you doing? Are you doing anything in the community in Nigeria? Are you doing anything with the government in Nigeria with your expertise? And I'm very conscious, even though it pains me to say this, that you did go to a very good secondary school. I have lots of friends who went to that school. I have lots of cousins who went to that school. In fact, an uncle of mine, one of my late uncles, Professor Adetunji, I think also went to your secondary school, Gynaecologist, by the way. I think he also went there. It's very, very, very good of uncle of mine. So lots of good people went to that school. The question is, with your level of exposure, you are well known in the environment of your industry, especially in the medical field and in law now. Have you brought that? Have you managed or had the opportunity to impact Nigeria as a community in this context?
In a number of ways. Many years ago, I used to do medical missions under the auspices of MANSAG, that's the Association of Nigerian Doctors in the UK. Been to Abuja Federal Medical Center, been to a Federal Medical Center in Abeokuta. I've been to Shagamu as well. So that's delivering medical missions. More recently, since about 2016, 2017, visits to the internally displaced persons camp, those displaced as a result of the Boko Haram problems. So I go every year in October. I spend a week, go to two camps, seeing pregnant women as an obstetrician, and we also, it's a team of people, see children aged through and below who are ill. And it's touching when you see the poverty, the illness, the lack of healthcare services. So that's giving back to my community. And I learn a lot as well going there, so that life is not as easy. So when you come back to the UK, you realize that, yeah, life can be difficult. So enjoy what you've got here. In terms of policy, I have also contributed to policy in Nigeria. The gender and health agenda, or gender in health, was part of that. I was part of that for the diaspora policy that resulted in the diaspora commission. Made my own little contribution as well. The highlight for me, I would say, is going to give a lecture at Nigeria's think tank group, the National Institute for Strategic Studies and Policy in Kuru, Jos. The theme for that year was universal health coverage. And so I spoke about how to mobilize resources for healthcare in Nigeria. And one of the examples I gave was taking, I don't want to use the word tax, more of social corporate responsibility, asking telecom companies to donate 10p out of a call each Nigerian makes. And you know, Nigerians speak, we like to talk. And yes, that has now gone into policy, yet to be enacted or to be implemented. But I have seen it in what the former Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo and his committee delivered to President Buhari. So, and I'm sure it's going through the implementation stage. So I still go back doing a lot of things. This year, I was co-lead for, well, no, I was the clinical lead for a program, getting a grant from the UK government to go and train midwives in Nigeria in the primary health center, because we have a very high maternal mortality. Mothers should not be dying in pregnancy. So we trained 89 midwives across 9 states between April and October 2024. And those 89 midwives have gone on to train over 2,000 midwives in primary healthcare centers in those 9 states. So I try my best to give my little bit here back to Nigeria.
Very well done. I'm very proud to hear that. Very well done, Prof. Very well done. That's great to hear. Because it's important. I think there are lots of us, so-called diasporans, who always felt or had lofty dreams about doing something and looking communities back where we come from originally. And for many other reasons, you know, the environment is different. It's a bit harsher than we like. We're trained in the West, and it's different to go and try and do this, replicate the same in our own environment, etc. A plethora of reasons. But the nurture and nature of being wanting to do good doesn't disappear.
It doesn't.
And that's why I asked you that question. So I'm grateful for your response. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
I have 2 other questions, and this one I'm going off piste slightly. So in your bio, I read that, and this surprised me, especially for someone who's an introvert, and I'm sure it surprised many of the listeners when they listen, that you're an avid poet. I didn't see that coming at all. And I hear a rumor that some of your poetry has been published and on sale. So again, very dark horse, literally. Tell us more about your fame and your loving poetry. Are you a poet, or you just like to read poetry?
Yes, I am a poet. I won't be shy about that. Because June last year, June 2024, I published my first poetry book called Echoes Across Decades. And these were poems that I had written from 1970 to 2024. Probably over 100, but I published 60 of them. In addition to the 60 poems were also motivational quotes that I had written. So that's been published. It's available on Amazon. Um, Again, my poems, when you look at it, probably reflects who I am. As a shy guy, I did question it. It's there in the book. Love, teenage love, and stuff like that. Somebody who's read the poetry said, "Oh, Prof, you're a lover boy." Uh, and speaking about being jilted as a teenager and stuff like
Okay.
that. And there were other things about political injustice, the Iraq War. There's a poem about there. The hopes of Nigeria that we haven't met, called it When Nigeria's turned 50 years of independence. It was for me, was there to celebrate, not much. And I had a poem called 50 Teardrops. So instead of 50 chairs, it was 50 teardrops at
Teardrops.
poetry. And I had those about being black and proud. And so it just cuts across life and society, is what I would say. Uh, I hope you get a copy, and it would be nice to get a feedback from you as to,
Okay.
because the feedback about being a lover boy was about 2 days ago.
Oh,
So that's
really?
fresh.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah. Somebody
Please,
who's
Prof,
read it.
for the benefit of people listening to the podcast, can you tell us where we can get it and the name of the book again?
It's Echoes Across Decades. It's
Okay.
available on Amazon for purchase.
Okay.
And I believe I'll do an official launch hopefully by October
Okay.
2025. Yeah.
Amen. Okay. That's on my bucket list for sure.
Thank you.
For sure. Okay. We're at the tail end of the interview. I have a few more questions. With all that we've discussed and all that you've shared with us, and I'm very, very grateful for that, what would be your words of wisdom for the up and coming younger generation like myself and the ones younger than me, in terms of A, how to fit into the part of our own community, B, how to go about and discharging our dreams, can I call them dreams and career aspirations, and C, as a Nigerian, of a person born in England of Nigerian descent, I think some of the things that I have struggled with as a person is we don't seem to have this strong enough notion of giving back. Generally, it's about if I give, I want to receive. Or if I'm giving, it's on the premise that I will be receiving. And as a Muslim, as a person of faith, A, that doesn't sit very well with me. And B, as a Black man raised in England and seeing lots of people of my color not doing so well or not thriving as well as we think they should be doing, those principles don't sit with me. So I love to give. The little bit I have, I love to share it. What would your advice be on those three issues, sir?
Thank you for that question. I think the first thing I would say, again, goes back to how we were brought up. You and I come from the same tribe, ethnic group, and we say we want our children to aspire to be better than who we are. So if you've attained a certain height, your wish for your children, and that's how you nurture them, is that they achieve more greatness in whatever field they choose. So that's been a guiding principle about nurturing the younger generation for me. They don't have to be every person I come across. I treat them as I'll treat my children. And what I tell them is it's good to have your own vision as to what you want to become in society. Have role models. And I tell them you've got to equip yourself to achieve your dreams or your vision. And yes, you may have a dream, you may have a vision, just like I did, which I don't regret it's not happened, but God opened other ways and other paths for me. And so that's my thing is equip yourself. Be proud of who you are, make yourself professional, stick to ethics. Ethics, we don't talk about ethics very much. We don't talk about etiquettes. These are very important things that in becoming who you want to become in society, you have to be that. Then I think, as you mentioned, being a Black person, I think one of the things we fail to do or we don't do very well is that social networking, even within our community. But let's forget about our community. But we live in a wider society. If there's something I could change, I think it's to build a, a bigger network of Caucasians. Not that I don't have, but to make it go out of the way to build that wider network of people globally. And not because you want something, but we are social animals and we should relate to one another. So that's what I will tell. We shouldn't be introverts and insular in our society and in our community. No, we have to be there. We have to be at the table where decisions are being made about you and I. And that's
Correct.
what I can say. That there's no limit to what you can do. Just
Thank you, sir.
be who you are. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I love that.
Welcome.
Okay, I have one final question for you, sir. And this is for me to ask is a difficult question. It's a difficult question to ask because you've achieved so much already. And I have to keep reminding myself, double prof is in his 70s and done so much and still looks and still talks. He has got so much more energy and so many more things he wants to do. To God be the glory. My last question would be, as an inspirational individual within our Black community, as an inspirational individual amongst your medical field, as a very well respected individual, father, husband, uncle, brother, what would you like your lasting legacy to look like or say about you?
An interesting, thought-provoking question. Lasting legacy. Well, my belief is whoever crosses my path or our paths cross, that there will be one or two things, positive things that you've been able to learn from me. It hasn't got to be verbal. It could be you just see me do something and make a difference in people's life. Giving back, giving back, giving back, giving back of yourself. And so when people say, oh, he came, it's not he came for himself. He came, yes, but he impacted lives, he improved lives. As a doctor, the beauty and the joy I get out of it is babies coming to life, mothers being happy, sick patients getting better, miracles occurring. And again, when you look at academia, I mean, my junior colleagues who were probably in primary school are doing very well. And I acknowledge that, like I've said, I share you and Toby Wallo, you will achieve
Amen.
greatness than other
Amen.
people. So that's what my legacy should be, that I touch lives, not because of myself, but to ensure that those people who our paths have crossed are better people than who I am. Yeah, so it's not about
Amen.
me, but about others.
Amen.
Thank
Amen.
you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Prof.
You're
It's been
welcome.
an absolute honor to spend this time with you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I would almost say at some point in my dream would be to have you back and do a take two of who Professor Rotimi aka Jaiyesimi is. And I'll put that in my mind somewhere and work on that behind the scenes. As a public individual, how can you be reached if we have people who would like to reach you?
My email, my telephone number, I think via LinkedIn,
Okay.
very visible on LinkedIn. I think that's the easiest way, because if you put out a request to connect, yes, I will connect with
Okay.
you.
Okay.
And that page is interesting because at the moment I'm carrying out weekly reflections of what I've learned there in a week.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
we're
I
on
shall
about 3.5 months now.
Okay, I'm gonna have a peek.
And please feel free to share. You've got my telephone number, you've got my email. Anybody who wants to reach out to me directly, please contact Steve. I'm sure he will make that connection.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
so
you very much, Prof. Thank you for your time.
It's been an honor. Thank you.
My pleasure, sir. Have a great evening and have a good day ahead. God bless.
And you too. Lovely.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. God bless
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning into the O5BM Community Impactors podcast, where Black brilliance meets community impact. We hope these conversations inspire you to dream big, take action, and contribute to the ongoing legacy of positive change. Until next time, let's continue to celebrate and build within our community.